Today, I already discussed about spirits and ghosts. Not only once, I think so many times we have discussed whether we are going to accept or whether we are going to believe. If they really exist, then what are we going to do? The Buddhist attitude. Next one. I have heard of Western patron saints and Oriental deities and local datos. But many of those datos are in Buddha jail, I think now. So don't worry. Local datos being in existence and able to protect the resident. Do they really exist? And who are they? Oh, this is interesting question. In every country, not only amongst the Buddhists, the followers of other religions also, and those who have no religions, even amongst the primitive people who had no idea about God or religion, they too had some sort of belief according to their experience. Although they could not understand clearly who they are and how to deal with them, they have started to do some sort of sacrifices, especially animal sacrifices. They thought that they can satisfy these spirits or ghosts or deities and all sort of invisible living beings by offering. Animal sacrifice was very common at that time. Still we have, when you perform certain rites and rituals, you too offer chickens and pork and fish, thinking that they like. The belief is that they like blood, the bad one, wicked one, like blood. So they offer. So I remember in Sri Lanka, being a Buddhist country, whenever they perform these rites and rituals, traditional belief, they never slaughter chicken. What they do, they bring one chicken and perform the ceremony. After that, they bluff the devil. As if that they are going to cut the neck, simply rub and rub and rub without using a knife. After that, they use a pin and prick and take few drop of blood and offer. They don't slaughter because of the Buddhist influence. So they too believe that they like blood. Then, let us start from the beginning. Westerners believe that there are some sort of saints, especially Christians, Catholics. Protestants are not very particular, but Catholics have so many saints, and they do pray. I remember when I visited New York Cathedral, and inside one big hall, prayer hall, I counted there were 42 charity boxes. So one charity box for one particular saint. So they can collect a lot of money. And certain Buddhist temples also, you can see so many charity boxes. You know, there are 28 Buddhas. They erect images or draw pictures of the Buddha and give the name. Kakusanda, Konagama, Kasyapa, Gautama, Tannankara, Deepankara, Saranankara, and give the name. After that, keep one charity box. The same system, same method. Now, Chinese temple, they use the name of Bodhisattvas, charity box. That is how they collect some donation from the public. So in the West, they pray to those saints. It is like this. We believe that Buddha is no more here in this world. Again we introduce, although his physical body disappeared from this world, the Buddha never died. Buddha never disappeared. He exists. Then they have interpreted by introducing three figures of the Buddha, three kayas, trikaya, body. One body is the normal human body. Dharmakaya, Rupakaya, Nirmanakaya. Eating, talking, sleeping, all these things, normal human life, just like a machine. All the activities we perform by using that normal physical body. And there is another body of the Buddha which is called Nirmanakaya. Nirmana means creation, create, and can transform, change into various forms as human beings or devas or brahmas or some sort of invisible living being or supernatural living being, and to perform certain supernatural or miraculous activities by using that particular body. Then the other one is called Dharmakaya. Here the enlightenment or the dharma or the reality or the truth that he realized, or the Buddhahood, is being introduced as a separate body. That is why many people cannot understand how an ordinary human being gain enlightenment without any divine inspiration. Because all the others had either divine message or divine inspiration, if not divine incarnation. There must be some connection. Otherwise, people say it is impossible to believe that ordinary human being can gain this enlightenment without any external inspiration. The Buddha has very clearly mentioned in his teaching, I never had any inspiration from outside, external sources. No one has given any message to me. No one has given any supernatural power to me. This is my own effort. By using superhuman effort, I gained this. Even then people cannot satisfy. So what they did? They introduced an eternal Buddha, just like eternal God. The eternal Buddha appears in this universe, and from time to time he creates different Buddhas, just like a reincarnation of God, who appeared from time to time by following the same method. The eternal Buddha creates another Buddha just like his shadow. And this shadow enter into a human body and act as a Buddha. One school of Mahayana Buddhism introduced the Buddha in this way. Then people can develop more hopes and devotion and confidence. Because they cannot understand when we say the Buddha does not exist in this world today. He has attained nirvana. They cannot understand. When they explain in this manner, this is a normal human way of thinking, then they can understand. Only for that purpose they have introduced this. So, there must be some sort of living being. Now Jesus is dead and gone. After that they tried to introduce, he did not die. He has gone to heaven and he is waiting there, again come back. But there are many others who cannot satisfy with that, who cannot wait, because he is not living here in this world. That is how they have introduced various saints. And these saints are very active, they are living, and they can look after, attend to us. They can bless us. They can save us. Then the Buddhists and Hindus and many others believe, although the Buddha does not exist in a person but there are many other supernatural living beings who exist in this world. So we can influence them for our day-to-day activities to gain their support and protection. The Buddha did not deny this. I think you can understand. He never said that there are no such living beings. But there are certain places where he mentioned that they too can influence us. And we also can influence them. But only thing is this. Although we respect them, we do hope, some protection, seek some help. But it is impossible for us to gain our knowledge, wisdom, purity, salvation, or heavenly bliss, or nirvana. Through the influence of any of those supernatural living beings or God. This is the difference now. So many others try to gain all those things through the influence of God. By worshipping, praying, offering, and maintaining that strong belief, they think through their influence they can gain. From the Buddhist point of view, it is impossible for us to gain our knowledge and wisdom and purity and salvation or nirvana through the influence of anybody in this world. We have to do that. But there are certain things that they can do for us. It is true. But all these things are worldly things. There you cannot find knowledge or wisdom or understanding or purity or nirvana. Such as your protection from certain misfortune, accident, and sicknesses also. Possible. And prosperity. You need some help for your business or to maintain healthy family life, household life, worldly life. You may gain some support from such devas or spirits or any kind of living being. They can inform you earlier when certain misfortune or such as accident or death take place. They get the news earlier. Sometimes they appear in dreams. If not, certain indication which appear. If you know how to analyze and understand, indicates something. Through the influence of such supernatural living being, they can do only that much. So don't depend on them for your salvation. They can give you some sort of temporary relief. Sometimes you get such relief and help from human beings also. Now this is the difference. Buddhist point of view, and some others strongly believe that they can gain everything through the influence of such deva. Then there are 5 altogether. Yaksha, Preta, Pisacha, Kumbhanda. These are the names given in our Buddhist book. But we use only one word in the English language. It's called spirit. We know only that word, either ghost or spirit. Yaksha, Preta, Pisacha, Kumbhanda. Again, Asura. But they have their own characteristics, behavior, temperaments, attitudes, according to the formation of their existence or physical body, invisible physical body. So, when you study Mahayana Buddhism, the school, I think you have heard, they always talk about earthbound bodhisattvas. Earthbound. And this title, Bodhisattva, is just exactly like Dato title here in this country. The Mahayanis have given this title to many of those great people in those days, Bodhisattva. So earthbound Bodhisattva, there are stories also. They have narrated beautiful stories. The one particular discourse in Mahayana is called Kshiti Garbha. Kshiti means earth, Garbha means inside. The womb also called Garbha. The baby remained there for 9 months. That is Garbha. So this earth is just like a womb. And those bodhisattvas exist there. This Mahayana school explain all these things. But when we analyze from according to the basic teachings of the Buddha, we don't regard them as bodhisattvas. They are some sort of living beings. There are two groups. Earthbound devas and spirits who live on earth. Two groups. Devas we categorize into 6 groups. They are heavenly devas, celestial devas. But beside these 6 groups of celestial devas, there are earthbound, close to this earth, and their way of life is not like celestial devas. So these devas give birth. The female devas give birth just like human beings. They have babies. But celestial devas have no babies. They don't give birth. Just exist, remain there for a long period, enjoy their life, again one day suddenly disappear, and no corpse or dead bodies. This is the nature of existence in celestiality. But earthbound devas are not like this. They too have some sort of divine nature or divine power, such as moving from one place to another place just like a bird, and to understand certain things which we cannot understand at once. That is why we always go to the Bodhi trees and some other trees and do some offerings and worship, thinking that there are some devas. They are earthbound devas, not heavenly devas. And they have some sort of sensitive mind, can catch the mental vibration. Now when we think and radiate our mental vibration, the thoughts that we have created in our mind also spread through create vibration. Later we utter some word to express the idea that we have implanted in the mind. But devas can catch the mental vibration before we utter, before we use any words. The sound vibration is important to human beings and animals and low, those who are in lower state, like ghosts and spirits and some others. Because they cannot catch. But earthbound devas can catch what we think. So when we go there, do some recitals or sutras, then radiate our metta, our kindness, our compassion, our sympathy. This vibration spread all around that area. And this vibration, this radiation become, or we create very soothing atmosphere for them. They like it very much. Very soothing atmosphere. They enjoy it. This is the communication. After that, we expressed our grievances, our problems and difficulties. So if there is anything that they can do for us, don't think they are very powerful that they can do everything for you. When you mention 100 problems, there may be one or two that they can help. They can attend. This is the nature of this deva, earthbound deva. And their lifespan also very long. Do you know, few years ago, a small boy, 6 years old, small boy in Sri Lanka, started to recite many of those Pali Sutras. He has never learned even ABCD. Every night, just sit down in a corner in his house, close his eyes, then go on reciting very long sutras, about 4 to 5 pages, like Mahasamaya Sutra, Dhammachakra Sutra. He goes on reciting without making a single mistake. And pronunciation also very clear. No one could understand how this child can do this. Later, he started to talk, reveal the secret. He said, he was a Pali Buddhist scholar during his previous birth. He studied Pali language, memorized hundreds of those sutras. And that memory still remain in that mind. Then he said, 2532 years ago, in India, he has attended the Buddha's funeral. Then how can you believe this? Then he says, the fire, funeral fire. It is mentioned in Mahaparinirvana Sutra that the fires automatically burn the dead bodies of the Buddha. And this young small boy repeat the same thing. He has seen how the Buddha's body was burnt. Now, 2500 years, if rebirth has taken place again and again and again and again as human being, how can this person maintain the same memory again and again? Impossible. Because the mental attitude and the memory always change. Life after life, changes take place. Now what we learn, what we have memorized within this lifetime, this can influence in our next life. But not so easy for us to carry on from next life to another life. Because during that lifetime, we influence our minds by learning something else. That is how changes take place. Languages, way of life change life after life. Then how does this child maintain this memory to remember that he has attained the Buddha's funeral? Can you say something? Can you think? How? Not very difficult to understand. Yes. You know, there are certain Buddhists, after performing some meritorious deeds, they make some sort of aspiration. Ito chutohang varajambu deepe Himalaye deva patiyotto. By the virtues of this merit, so may I get the chance to be born as one of the devas, just like earthbound devas, to remain there without changing my repeated birth and death. Remain there as one of the devas until the next Buddha appear in this world. This is an aspiration. That means to make sure if rebirth take place again and again and again, nobody knows during this period what sort of life, what sort of good karma and bad karma that person performed. There is no guarantee. This is the easiest way for us to understand how this child maintained this memory. So it clearly shows that maybe a monk, ordinary monk at that time, during the Buddha's time, but he has not attained any of those Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta. Otherwise, rebirth cannot take place such a long period. So he has seen, and rebirth has taken place as one of the devas and remained. After that, another rebirth has taken place. That period was over. So still, his memory is very fresh. He can maintain the memory and the sutras, the language, what he has learned. But some of those devas are very wicked. This is the problem. All are not good devas. Some are very jealous, wicked, greedy. They can influence us. They can create troubles. a bad deva keep eye on you or your house or your land, you may come across certain problems and difficulties. Then what is the Buddhist attitude? To avoid this, even primitive people have discovered certain methods. One of them, just now I told you, animal sacrifice, offering blood or flesh. But when we become religious, become more and more cultured, so we have given up that animal sacrifice knowing it is cruel. Then they started to offer ghee and butter and rice, barley, eatable things, and burn. Again they realized that it is utter wastage. Without wasting, without abusing our human intelligence, at that time the Buddha appeared in this world. He is the one who introduced very respectable, harmless method for us to practice to avoid the disturbances as well as to communicate and also to support them. This method you cannot find even before or after the Buddha. They had only to do some offerings, not to go and pray, that's all. The Buddha has introduced in various ways. Divacha rattocha haranti yevaling tasmahi nerakhata appamatta. Ratana Sutra. Now see, very meaningful saying of the Buddha. So he did not ask you to stop your offerings to such devas. There are some Buddhists who condemn this kind of activities. I don't think they are wise people because they never think properly. They use only their intellectual aspect. That is not enough. Here the Buddha is saying, what is Divacha Rattocha, day and night, those devotees do some offerings. Again, end of Ratana Sutta. Khinang Puranang Navang Natti Sambhavang Viratta Chitta Aitike Bhasmin Tekhina Bija Avirul Chanda Nibbanti Dhira Yathayam Padipu. Look at this word, sayings of the Buddha. When the Buddha visited this place because of very bad epidemic and disaster and thousands of people are dying, so purposely he visited this place to support people to get rid of these problems. Here, Yatha Ayang Padipo. Padipo means oil lamp, which was burning there at that time, here and there, offered to various devas by people. But what he did, look at the flame of this oil lamp, he says. So after burning the oil and the wicks, the flame completely disappeared. After that, nobody knows what happened to this flame. No one can find out. A person who has attained Arahanta, his life also exactly like this flame. As long as karma and the elements, energies remains, the life exists. Life is just like flame. When reproductive or generative karma is no more to condition to produce another life, Nibbanti dhira yathayam patipo, his life disappear from here exactly like this flame. This is another example to show this was a common practice even at that time, offering of light, oil lamp to the devas. So the Buddha did not stop. Then he said, Divacha ratto cha haranti e bali. Those devotees who do some offering day and night, remember you, respect you, transfer the merits to you. And again he has given this advice to those spirits or devas. Tasmahine rakhata appamatta. In return, so it is your duty to protect them. Just now I told you how they can protect you, up to what extent. To avoid certain misfortunes or accidents or troubles or sicknesses, they can protect you. But they cannot save you, impossible. So now we were talking about these devas, how to communicate. And what is the Buddhist attitude? Without slaughtering animal, without wasting anything, we do something respectable way. Without abusing our human dignity, we can perform these things. Then, those devas have no chance, never think, not used to perform any meritorious deeds, not like us. So when we radiate our kindness towards them, when we transfer the merits, I told you the atmosphere that we create, appealing to their mind and the body, very peaceful environment, they really enjoy. Then they feel it. After that, they also do some service to you. Then, some others, earthbound, means living on this earth. They are not devas. They are, most of them are very miserable, very unfortunate living beings. Yaksha, Bhuta, Preta, Pisacha, Kumbhan. See the 5 groups. Yaksha, Yakha, a spirit who are very cruel, wicked, dangerous. And why rebirth has taken place in this way? It's a good lesson for us to learn. those who maintain hatred, cruelty, anger, or enmity, by harboring all these evil forces in the mind, if they die, when one of these evil forces are functioning in the mind, after that death, rebirth take place as one of the spirit, as yakka, cruel. They again become very cruel, very jealous and wicked, and they disturb others. They are just like a snake, poisonous snake. A snake purposely never come and attack us. If any snakes comes now, that snakes never purposely come and attack us, unless we go and disturb or touch. That we disturb them, we attack them. That is why they disturb us. When we build a new house, some of those good one as well as bad one spirit definitely enter into that house. They are earthbound. They are also seeking a shelter. That is why many people do something, perform some sort of religious rites for their protection to avoid the influence of such a spirit. Otherwise, they disturb. It is true. So again, as Buddhists, we must know what to do. What is the Buddhist attitude? Many others, as I mentioned, they slaughter chicken and spread blood here and there, and these are uncultured practices. The Buddhist, by maintaining our dignity, we can do something even without harming them. This is the method introduced by the Buddha. Others think that they can harm them, chase them away. But we never create such idea, to chase them away. We do something for our protection, that's all. Protect ourselves. We don't want to harm them, we cannot harm them. Then what do we do? Then we light either candles or oil lamps and some flowers and incense, then do some chanting or recitals, then do some meritorious deeds. Then, while we are chanting, what do we do? Two vibrations, mental vibration, sound vibration. Very strong dynamic force. They surrender. They keep away. Because they cannot agree, they cannot tolerate. When you read the translations of Atanatya Sutra, the nature of such spirits, you can see. Some are very, very stubborn. Never listen even to the Buddha, it is mentioned. And take hell of a time to tame those wicked, strong spirits. But some others surrender very easily. This is the nature of spirit. So, the correct method introduced by the Buddha is to radiate metta. Vibration of radiations of loving kindness toward them. They keep away. They keep away. And after that they become powerless to disturb you. So by doing this, you strengthen your own mind. When your mind is very strong, they become powerless to disturb you. So everything depends on our mental attitudes. You develop very strong confidence in you. And this confidence also gives support for you to avoid. If you also surrender to those spirits and devils and ghosts, then they get the chance to attack. You must stand firmly. Don't surrender to them. Then they keep away. Then another group, Preta, another unfortunate spirit form. Rebirth has taken place after their death. Those human beings who lived in this world just earning and eating and enjoying. That's all. They have never done any service to anybody. And they are so selfish. Everything that they earned, used only for their enjoyment's sake. Never contributed anything for the sake of benefit of others. And never done any meritorious deeds. And never developed their knowledge and understanding also. That is the fate of such people. After their death, rebirth takes place in such unfortunate state as a spirit. And their life is very miserable. They haven't got anything, any requisite for them to maintain themselves. Because of that, they develop jealousy. Then come and disturb others. Sometimes inside a house, or drains, or compound, or certain areas, they do exist. You think simply by burning firecrackers you can chase them away. That is your discovery. They are not scared of firecrackers. The mental energy is more powerful than firecrackers. When you develop your mental energy, when you radiate your kindness, compassion, become a very strong force. So they become powerless to disturb. Then there are some others. Bhuta, Pisacha, Kumbhanda. They are not very powerful. And they do not disturb us. But when we disturb them, they get angry. That is why when we are going to build a house, to dig the ground, we do some religious service. So when you dig the ground, around that area there may be some of those living beings. We disturb them. They get angry, just like snake. So when they get angry, they use little bit of power that they had to disturb us. Even a small insect also can disturb us when we disturb them. Exactly like this. So, one dosage for all of them, given by the Buddha. You see? So not necessary to slaughter chicken, not necessary to waste anything. See? Do some meritorious deeds. Transfer the merit to them. Radiate your kindness toward them. They keep away. They allow you to carry on your work, to live in that house. When you build a new house, before you come and occupy, sometimes lizards come and occupy the house earlier. Mosquitoes come and occupy the house. Flies, frogs come and occupy your house. It's exactly like this. So many of those spirits around that area also, when they found out there's a nice shelter, they enter into this one and occupy. So when you go there, they try to disturb you, they try to chase you away. Because now this is their house. Then what you do, I perform some sort of religious service and without hurting them, damaging or destroying them, you create some sort of strong vibration, mental vibration that they cannot stand. Then they keep it. So, this is the answer to this question. So now you have learned many things. First thing, as Buddhists we don't deny the existence of such devas or spirit or this or that. Second thing, we do not worship to all of them. Usually we pay respect to those earthbound devas, but not to these spirit and ghost. We never worship them. We do some offerings, simple thing, but not necessary to slaughter animals. Food, yes, I forgot to tell you. In every country, they offer some food. But this they do. Usually whenever somebody passed away, departed from that house, the belief was originated in the mind that if the departed person is being born in the spirit form and this person needs some food and the things that he likes to eat, purposely they offer. After that, although they cannot eat, but they enjoy the aroma, the smell. The smell is their food. You know, sometimes when the nice smell comes from the kitchen, you say, very nice lah. You enjoy that. That means that you eat something. Through your nose you eat. You enjoy the smell. Durian, very nice, wonderful. So in the same way, these spirits also, they can, the flame of the smell, they enjoy. But not the solid food. They cannot take solid food. Because their physical body is not like ours. The formation, the elements, the combinations of the elements are not like ours. So, not tangible, not visible, but life is there, formation is there. Then there's another one. How do children develop certain characteristics such as selfishness, generosity, cruelty, kindness, stupidity, intelligence, anger, tolerance from childhood? It's a very good question. We can discuss so many things. I remember I have discussed this. This is one of the main reasons where we can prove what the Buddha has said is true. There is no any other answer, correct answer. Those who believe that God created us cannot give satisfactory answer. Why? Why does He create like that? Again, scientists who explain our character, behavior and formations of physical body by measuring only genes, genetic substance or protein molecules, they cannot prove, because children are entirely different from their parents. Different character, different features, different temperaments and different attitude. So scientific interpretation also a failure. And those who believe that God created all these things also no meaning to us. So no one can give satisfactory answer. Why these discriminations or differences? So our own karma is responsible for all these differences. That's all. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumodittva jirang rakkhantu loka sasanam ittavata ca amhehi sampatang punya sampadang sabbhi devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya